Imagine this. It's early morning. The sun is barely up. Your eyes are still adjusting to the light, and the only thing keeping you going is the smell of coffee slowly filling the room. You haven't eaten in 8, maybe 9 hours. Your body is in that quiet, rested, fasted state, your metabolism sitting in neutral, your blood sugar calm and steady. And then you do something that takes less than 30 seconds. You pour a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar into a glass of water, stir it, and drink it. That's it. Simple, unremarkable looking, almost laughably easy. But what if that one tiny action just triggered one of the most powerful biological chain reactions your body is capable of producing? What if those 30 seconds quietly set the tone for how your body burns fat, manages hunger, and processes food for the entire rest of the day? Most people who drink apple cider vinegar every morning do it because someone told them it works. Maybe they saw a transformation story online. Maybe a friend swore by it. Maybe they read a headline that caught their attention. But almost nobody actually understands what is happening inside their body when that sharp, tangy liquid hits an empty stomach. They're getting the benefits without knowing why. And there's something powerful about understanding the why, because when you understand what's actually happening inside you, this stops feeling like a wellness trend and starts feeling like something you genuinely never want to skip. So today, we're going to walk through the entire process, from the very first second that vinegar touches your tongue, all the way through the hours of biological activity that follow. And by the end, you'll never look at that little bottle the same way again. Let's start at the very beginning, the exact moment the liquid makes contact with your taste buds. Your mouth is loaded with incredibly sensitive sensors, and the second they detect that sharp, acidic, sour flavor, something remarkable happens instantly. A signal shoots up to your brain before the vinegar has even traveled halfway down your throat. Your brain receives that signal and immediately begins preparing your entire digestive system for what's coming. Your salivary glands ramp up production almost instantly, flooding your mouth with more saliva than usual. Now, this might sound like a small detail, but it's actually your body being incredibly smart. Saliva contains a natural buffering compound called bicarbonate, and your body is using it to start neutralizing the acid right away, protecting your teeth, your throat lining, and your esophagus before any damage can occur. It's your body's first line of defense, and it activates in a matter of seconds. This is also why dentists consistently recommend rinsing your mouth with plain water after drinking apple cider vinegar, because even though your body responds quickly, that acidity still lingers on the surface of your enamel. Over time, if you're not careful, it can gradually wear down the hard outer coating of your teeth. Using a straw to drink it, rinsing immediately after, and never sipping it straight from the bottle are habits that protect you while you benefit from everything this practice has to offer. These are easy precautions, but they matter more than most people realize, especially if you plan on doing this every single day for weeks and months on end. The benefits are real, but so is the need to be smart about how you consume it. Your body is already doing its part to protect you, so do your part too. Now the vinegar travels down your esophagus and reaches your stomach, and this is where the story starts getting genuinely fascinating. Your stomach has been in a kind of overnight standby mode. It hasn't processed food in hours, its acid levels have settled into a quiet resting state, and it's not expecting much activity this early. Then the sharp acetic acid arrives, and something happens that surprises almost everyone when they first hear it. You would assume that pouring acid into your stomach would just make it overly acidic, potentially causing discomfort or irritation, but that's not actually what occurs for most healthy people. What the acetic acid does instead is stimulate your stomach lining's pH sensors, the receptors that are constantly monitoring the chemical environment inside. When those sensors detect the incoming acidity, they trigger your stomach to optimize and regulate its acid production, rather than just flooding itself randomly. For a huge number of people, particularly those who naturally have low stomach acid or who struggle with sluggish digestion, this is incredibly valuable. It helps create exactly the kind of chemical environment your stomach needs to do its job properly when you eventually eat. Your stomach lining also begins secreting digestive enzymes in response to the vinegar, and this is where the head start begins. Think of those enzymes as the workforce your stomach employs to break down food. When you drink apple cider vinegar on an empty stomach, you're essentially calling those workers in early and getting them warmed up before the job even starts. So when your first meal arrives, your digestive system isn't slowly coming online from a cold start. It's already running, already primed, already fully operational. People who regularly experience that heavy, bloated, uncomfortable feeling after eating often discover that this single morning habit makes a measurable difference, and now you understand exactly why. About 5 to 15 minutes after you drink it, something happens that might actually be the most important part of this entire story. Even though your stomach is empty and there's no food being digested right now, the acetic acid in the vinegar has already started interacting with specific enzymes your body uses to break down carbohydrates. It gently slows down those enzymes, interfering with how quickly carbohydrates get converted into glucose once you eventually eat. Think of it as laying the groundwork, setting up a metabolic framework that will shape how your body handles food for the next several hours. Research has shown that acetic acid can improve insulin sensitivity by as much as 34% in certain individuals. That is not a small or insignificant number. It means your cells become dramatically more responsive to insulin, so when your blood sugar rises after a meal, your body can handle that glucose smoothly and efficiently without drama. Your liver begins breaking down stored fat at a greater rate to use as fuel, and your cells throughout your entire body become more efficient at tapping into their reserves. This is the real biological mechanism behind the increased energy and sharper mental clarity that so many people report experiencing after making this a consistent morning practice. It's not a placebo effect. It's not wishful thinking. Your cells are literally running more efficiently because your metabolic master switch has been activated. And when you understand that this is happening because of something you did in 30 seconds before you even had breakfast, the significance of that small daily action becomes hard to overstate. You haven't gone to the gym yet, you haven't eaten a single thing, and your body is already burning more efficiently than it would have been otherwise. Now let's talk about hunger, because this is the part that genuinely stops people when they hear it for the first time. About 30 minutes after drinking apple cider vinegar on an empty stomach, your body begins experiencing a real, measurable hormonal shift. Ghrelin, which is the hormone your body produces to generate feelings of hunger, actually decreases, not because you ate something and satisfied your stomach, not because you tricked yourself mentally, but because the acetic acid is genuinely influencing the biological system that produces and regulates that hormone. At the same time, your body increases its production of a peptide called PYY, which sends powerful signals of fullness and satisfaction to your brain. So you are simultaneously turning down the hormone that makes you feel hungry, while turning up the hormone that makes you feel full. And all of this is happening before you've consumed a single calorie of food. This is the real reason why people who practice this habit consistently tend to eat smaller breakfasts, feel satisfied for longer, and consume fewer total calories throughout the day without ever consciously trying to restrict themselves. Their body is sending different signals than it used to, and different signals produce different behaviors around food. They're not fighting cravings with willpower. They're not white-knuckling through hunger. Their hunger and fullness hormones have been recalibrated by a consistent biological input, and their eating patterns have naturally adjusted in response. This is exactly the kind of change that makes a habit sustainable long-term, because you're not relying on discipline or motivation, which fluctuates and eventually runs out. You're relying on your body's own hormonal system working better than it did before. One of the most underappreciated effects of this morning habit is what it does for your gut over time. Your gut is home to trillions of living microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and other microbes that make up what scientists call your microbiome. These organisms have an enormous influence on your immune system, your mood, your energy levels, how well you digest food, and even how your brain functions on a day-to-day basis. When you drink raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar that still contains the cloudy sediment known as the mother, you're introducing beneficial bacteria and prebiotic compounds directly into your gut environment. The acetic acid also creates conditions where good bacteria can thrive and multiply, while harmful bacteria find it much harder to survive and take hold. It's like making your gut inhospitable to the troublemakers and welcoming to the beneficial residents. Over days and weeks of consistent use, people notice real, tangible changes in their digestive experience: less bloating after meals, more regular and comfortable digestion, fewer episodes of that sluggish, heavy feeling that drags you down in the afternoon. Your gut lining also strengthens over time, with tighter connections between the cells of your intestinal wall. This matters enormously because a weakened gut lining allows unwanted particles, undigested food fragments, bacteria, and toxins to slip through into your bloodstream, a condition often referred to as leaky gut. When those particles enter your blood, your immune system treats them as invaders and mounts an inflammatory response. By strengthening that lining, apple cider vinegar helps reduce low-grade chronic inflammation that most people are carrying around without even knowing it. A few hours after you've consumed it, your body reaches what researchers describe as peak fat oxidation. This is the long game paying off, and the numbers are striking. Studies have shown that acetic acid can increase the activity of genes specifically responsible for fat burning by as much as 50%. Your mitochondria, the microscopic power plants inside every cell in your body, become more efficient at converting stored fat into usable energy. Your body starts reaching into its fat reserves, particularly the dangerous visceral fat that accumulates around your internal organs, which is the type most strongly linked to heart disease, diabetes, and metabolic disorders. And this fat-burning effect is dramatically amplified if you exercise during this 2 to 4 hour window after drinking apple cider vinegar in the morning. The combination of being in a fasted state, having AMPK activated, and engaging in physical movement creates a fat-burning environment that is genuinely difficult to replicate through any other single habit or supplement. Your body is functioning at full metabolic efficiency, burning cleanly, responding intelligently, and drawing on stored resources in exactly the way you want it to. People who work out in the morning after their apple cider vinegar routine often notice that their energy during exercise feels different, more sustained and steady rather than burning bright and fading fast. That's not a coincidence. That's the biological environment you created working exactly as it should. And understanding that makes the discipline of showing up for a morning workout feel a lot more rewarding. Here is where consistency becomes the most important word in this entire conversation. One morning of apple cider vinegar is interesting. 30 mornings of it is genuinely transformative. When you do this day after day, these short-term biological effects begin to stack on top of each other and compound over time. Your insulin sensitivity improves progressively week by week. Your gut microbiome gradually shifts toward a healthier, more balanced state. Your hunger hormones become more reliably calibrated, making it easier to stop eating when you're full and less likely to reach for food when you're not actually hungry. Studies that tracked people over 12 weeks of daily apple cider vinegar consumption found that participants lost significantly more body fat compared to those who didn't use it, even when both groups were eating the same number of calories. The difference wasn't discipline or restriction, the difference was biological efficiency. That is a profound insight because it means the results aren't coming from eating less or trying harder, they're coming from your body functioning better, and that changes everything about how you think about this habit. You're not punishing yourself, you're not restricting, you're simply giving your body a consistent biological signal every morning that gradually shifts how it operates at a fundamental level. Apple cider vinegar is not a magic potion. It won't undo a diet full of processed food, or replace the benefits of exercise, or compensate for chronic stress and poor sleep. But used wisely, consistently, and correctly as a tool within a lifestyle that supports your health, it is one of the most accessible and science-supported natural habits you can build into your morning. Your body is always listening to the signals you send it. Every single morning, you get to choose what those signals are going to be.